Namaskar and a warm welcome to all our esteemed educators, school leaders, and change makers. I'm your host Diviya Mehra, and you're watching Educational Connect with DM, a platform that brings together visionaries and thought leaders who are transforming education into a more inclusive, innovative, and student-centric experience. Today's session is centered on a theme that lies to the heart of the quality of education: student-centric school culture, the role of principals. In this rapidly evolving educational landscape, creating the student first approach requires not just policies, but passion, vision, and school leadership. And that's where our speaker shines. Introducing to you Mr. Shubham Bhagat. Mr. Shubham is an educational leader par excellence. With extensive leadership experience in the cooperative schools across South and North India, Mr. Bhagat has worked with multiple curriculums, CBSE, ICSE, and state boards, and has consistently driven academic excellence, innovation, and inclusive practices. A champion of student centricity, he brings a rare blend of expertise in CBSE affiliation, cost optimization, curriculum design, edtech integration, and talent acquisitions. We believe that school is not just a building, it's a living ecosystem that thrives when students are at its core. His leadership is a testimony to his belief. As we dive in today's theme, Mr. Bhagat will share powerful insights on how principals can shape a culture that empowers students to become confident, creative, and compassionate learners, and how to balance administrative rigor with emotional intelligence and visionary thinking. So, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Shubham Bhagat to Educational Connect with DM. Sir, we are honored to have you with us today. The virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you, ma'am, for the invitation here. And today we are talking about a very important topic, uh, and we are talking about the students. And I believe this will be an engaging session, and we will get to learn a lot how we need to change our leadership style and move from the traditional approach to a more student centered approach. So, this is where we can start.
Indeed, sir, we are really looking forward to it. So, the stage is all yours.
Uh, Ma'am, like we can start with the presentation. Yes. So, uh, as I said, that we will be talking about a very important topic, that fostering a student-centric school culture. When we talk about the school ecosystem, we mainly talk about K-12 education. So, my main focus will be on this K-12 education. So, here in this particular series, where we will be discussing about the students. So when we are talking about the students, whenever we are coming to a school, uh, for whom we are working for the students, like be that teachers, be that the support staff, be that the school building, everything, whatever is there in the school ecosystem is working towards the betterment of the students. So today, uh, we have to understand that active participation is very important for all the students, and we have to move away from teacher led lectures. It should not be that we will be just allowing the students to talk, and they should come up with critical thinking. They should give up modern day, like they should bring in a lot of changes, and that can only happen when we as school leaders give that liberty to the students. If we are not giving them the liberty, the students will not be able to do as per their own wish. So whenever we talk about school leaders, they are being strict, they are always being harsh, and they it's always a one way conversation, it's always a monologue, there is no dialogue involved. Be that with the teachers, be that with the students, we always try to make this in such a way that we will be giving you a set of instructions and you will follow it. But what our approach is, we talk about a student centric school culture. When we give, where we give the maximum weightage to the students, they need to decide, because I believe that students are coming to our school and they are giving us the opportunity to teach. It's not the other way around. They would have gone to some other school, some other place, but they are giving us the opportunity to teach and make them a better citizen of this country. So therefore we need to thank the students first and create a student centric school culture. This is how we can just transform the school culture. And if we have to give them autonomy, we can give them autonomy in terms of we can start with the school council, where they'll learn about the roles and responsibilities as school leaders. So when there is a head boy and a head girl, they are not only for the namesake, they should not be there only for the namesake, but they should actively participate uh, in running the school. This is what I believe.
Rightly said, sir. And with this great thought, let's begin with the session today. So, sir, as we're talking about fostering a student-centric school culture, so according to you, what is a school-centered, student-centered approach in the school look like in the real life? So just a little light on this, sir.
Yes. Um, if we have to talk about the student centered school culture, we have to make sure that it's like education is not the filling of a pail, but lightning of a fire. So, as gets rightly said, that it's not that we will be just feeding information. Uh, when we are in this 21st century, when everything is just one click away, there is chat gpt, you give them the prompt, they will give you the answers. So teachers cannot just afford to just be someone who will just pass on information. So they should add something more, apart from just giving them raw data and information which is readily available in the internet. So what we have to do is we need to give them a lot of projects where students can bring in a lot of innovation, and therein the students will be able to give uh, and understand how they can be part of the school ecosystem. Like whenever we are taking some important decisions, we need to call the student council. If not everyone, it's not always possible to ask each and every child in the classroom that how they want to run the school. But as in a school ecosystem, we have school leaders who take the decisions, but only after discussing it with the team and the management. In the same way, we believe that whenever we are doing something for the students, we have to make sure that we are prioritizing student needs, interests, and growth is the key. And emotional well being is very much important, and we need to engage the students and make students capable enough to take important decisions in their life. So this is what student centric culture is. And whenever we are taking any decisions, I believe that we need to take uh, it keeping in mind the student first. So that should be the approach.
Right,
Yes,
sir. So as a principal, while we have been actually dealing with a lot of options and availabilities that we have been having in today's time, what are the challenges do you feel like the school faces while we have been actually trying to be very student centric? So as a principal, you can elaborate more on this, sir.
yes. So if we have to talk about like what are the challenges that we face at times when we give a lot of autonomy, and when we try to ask each and everything to the students whenever we are taking any decisions, that time we need to be more individualized and we need to be more personalized in our approach. And whenever we are trying to do it in a more personalized approach, the workload of the teachers increases. So because of this, the teachers always don't find it to be a good way to like move from teacher centric to like student centric approach. So therefore, I believe that we need to give autonomy to the students, but also make sure that we have to understand that what are the options that are available when we are whenever we are taking any decisions. Like the student centered school can practice flexible learning environments and where spaces adapt to various learning styles. And also we need to give uh, the students a space where they can raise their voice and choice, and students influence decisions and learning paths. And active engagement, this is the most important thing. Learning happens through projects and collaboration. We have to make sure that the students learn through the projects and collaboration, and we have to give them a chance so that they can like come up with a lot of projects, and they can like share that with the teachers, and the teachers can really look into it. What are the possible solutions that we can bring in? So we need to give them certain complex problems. They need to come up with a lot of solutions. So it is the students who will come up with the solutions rather than the teacher giving the question and answer and they are just mugging up. And we need to have a proper support system, and this proper support system as in we need to have a emotional, social, and academic growth can only happen when you have a proper support system where the teachers or the student counselors can be there in the school who can really help the students understand their problems and give a possible solutions. But in the schools I find that when the teacher or the school leadership is very rigid, they don't give place for them to come and ask questions, then it becomes very difficult for the students to come up with innovation. Innovation can only happen when you give them a chance so that the students learn and they can come up with questions. If you just stop them like why you are asking so many questions, the students will never come up with questions, and that is where the learning stops. So I believe that we need to give them a chance to learn.
So, as we are talking about the innovation part among the students, and also we are asking that the students need to get an opportunity to ask questions, but at the same time, they should feel confided in the school system as well as the setup and the teachers. How do you ensure as a principal that the students, while in the studies, are being able to be well developed with their emotional and mental well-being? So, what are the steps as a school that we can take in this regard?
uh, you see, like academic suffers whenever there is some mental trauma or like some mental problem associated. Whenever we are not trying to have a good environment in the school, the student will definitely not be able to study in the way we want them to study. And during like the post pandemic, so a lot of students faced a lot of problems. So when they were like not coming out, they were like staying in their homes and not being able to communicate with other students. So the students during this post-COVID era, they faced a lot of difficulty and learning loss happened because of this. So what we need to do is we need to promote social emotional learning. When we promote social emotional learning in the teachers, in a way we can pass this on to the students, and we have to make them emotionally attached with the teachers. So the bond should be there, and we need to entirely reframe the behavioral pattern of the students. So if we have to do this, we cannot always tell, we cannot just do all kind of negative reinforcement in the school. You're not good with that, you're not good with this. this and that. If you are continuously doing this, then the student will not be coming up with the problems to you. So they will come up with the problems to you only when you are giving them a chance, when they feel that you are one of them, when they feel that the teacher is readily available for me. So if the teacher is not available for the student, then never the student will come up with this problem. So let me share an example with you. So just I guess within the last few days, uh, there was an incident there in Kolkata when the child went to a shop, purchased something, and after coming back, the child said the mother that he was said by the shopkeeper and a person nearby that you have stolen something from that shop. And he said that uh, I have not taken anything from that shop, I have not stolen anything. But the child was harassed in front of others in that particular place itself, in that shop. And after coming back home, the child committed suicide. And in that note, it was written that I have not stolen anything. So that means we are not ready to listen to the students. We are not ready to listen to the child. We always think that whatever I am saying, whatever you are saying, like we as school leaders and teachers always think that whatever we are saying is correct, and we need not to listen to the child. The child is telling something which doesn't make any sense. So if we are being stubborn, this can lead to this kind of problems, which is really very serious. So I think that this is how the mental and emotional well-being can be handled and tackled from the school leadership team.
So, as you mentioned very rightly here, that emotional and well-being part is very important among the students, and we as individuals, teachers, or in the school ecosystem need to really take care of the emotional and well-being. But sir, as you were pointing out regarding COVID, so since
Hmm.
then, COVID has actually changed a lot of scenarios for students as well as for teachers. Everybody is trying
Hmm.
to adjust to the system, and technology has played a key role in this regard. So, can you give some light on this, the particular perspective that how technology has overtaken and how teaching accessibility has basically improved or has become a disadvantage for the teachers? So you're muted, sir.
Yes. So I believe that technology in learning outcomes, it can bring extraordinary outcome in terms of results. So we can use a lot of things post COVID. You see, we started using digital platforms, and like we started using a lot of digital content. So we have a lot of the schools, uh, like mainly virtual schools. We have a lot of virtual schools, and what I think is use of classroom technology to provide instant information access is very much important. And we can have digital content libraries and online platforms and systems. And nowadays we need the learning management system. A lot of schools, they are using a learning management system, LMS, and open educational resources, OER, so which is readily available for free. And for example, if we are like if someone is teaching geography in the class and the child have never visited Sundarban and wants to understand regarding the delta, so we from we can just use the smart class, and with this we can just directly show the children in our class like how it usually works. So with virtual reality we can travel and move to a place wherein the students can get a direct access. With VR and AR, the student can get direct access to how it usually looks like and where in which place it is located. So I believe that technology can be an important part of the TLM, teaching learning material, where technology plays a very important part. But herein, if we have to use technology, we need to use judiciously. We have to make sure that we are just not completely dependent on technology. Recently, we have got to know that Sweden, which just started with a lot of technological advancement when it comes to education, but they have recently moved from all this technological advancement to a different kind of a setup when you use pen and paper. So there are uh, positive sides and there are a lot of negative sides to it. So we have to make sure that and understand that what is positive for us and what is negative for us. And if we have to use this, we can use like the students can prepare a lot of multimedia presentations, and in this way they can learn how to prepare a presentation, and a lot of educational games and quizzes, this all are available that students can participate, and they can just create online polls and surveys, and coding and programming is something that can be helping the students a lot. So we have to make the schools future ready, and in order to make that, I believe student centric approach is the best approach that we can do. So if we are just taking the student centric approach, the school can bring in a positive atmosphere for the students, for the teachers, and also for the parents.
So, as you mentioned about the digital technology, multimedia content, the quizzes and the games that have been introduced for the students, I'm really sure that this it has been an interactive session for the students. But as far as the support for the teachers that has been required, how do you think that this technology assessment, since suppose the COVID times that we have, it has been quite difficult for the teachers to get adjusted to it, and possibly even the students, because not everybody could actually afford the internet or accessibility to the digital access that we had. So how is a school or how is a principal would we be there to support the teachers as well as the students?
Uh, you see, the post COVID era, during this period of time, uh, a lot of schools started with online classes, and a lot of schools couldn't start with this online classes. So I
Right, sir.
accept that there is a digital divide and everyone is not getting access to internet. We still have a lot of places in this country where uh, internet is a very big thing, not even electricity is there.
Right.
So whenever we are talking about this changes, I believe what we can really do is we need to train the teachers, and training the teachers, like as CBSC, uh, as per the recommendation of NEP and CBSE, like we need to do a 50 hours training program for the teachers. But whenever we are doing all this PDs, we have to make sure that we train the teachers not only with the raw data and like the same, like we always have the same topic to deal with, classroom management, social emotional intelligence, right? NEP 2020. But we have to make them understand like what are the changes in terms of technology. As in NEP, uh, there's a reference that everything like the entire school ecosystem will change by 2030. So we have to make sure that the teachers are really ready with this, how they will tackle with these problems. So if we have to make it student centered, whenever we are making it student centered, we have to make sure that our students are really ready, like our teachers are really ready with this. So it should not be that like we are going to the battlefield without ammunition, without rifles. So we have to just make sure that our teachers are really ready, and they are ready to just give their best in terms of this. And if I have to tell about the teachers, so we have to make sure that the teachers can get themselves ready, make themselves ready, and need to work a little bit more on the lesson plans, like how we can make it in such a way so that all of them in the entire class, if the class is of like 40 students, we have to make sure that we have special reference for the slow learners, and we can arrange some remedial classes for the slow learners, and we have to make sure that we are doing it as per the individual student needs, and we have to make sure that each and every child, there is like unique learning style for each of them, so we have to make sure that we are doing it. And we can provide the scaffolding to the students, we can only provide the scaffolding to the students when we are ready with it. So we as teachers need to make sure that we are well trained, we understand how to use technology, we have to understand how AI can help us in reducing our workload, and also we can give the best in the classrooms. So if we have to give the best in the classrooms, we have to make sure that we are ready and we are prepared for that. So I think this is what as teachers we have to do.
Yeah. So as you mentioned about the technology accessibility and availability and adaptability to it, of course, CBSE has been taking a number of steps for regarding the orientations and encouraging the teachers to enroll themselves for various workshops and getting very comfortable with the present technology that we have, especially with the incorporation of AI in the education system. I think it's been quite evident that the support that has been required to the teachers has to be reached from the right channel. So focusing here on the student's role in the well-being, can you share some examples, sir, where the school rules or the teaching from the student's perspective has brought up a change in the education system or the school system for that matter?
Uh, as we are talking about student centered learning, so I believe that we can make a lot of changes, and like as the concept design thinking, when we are talking about design thinking, we need to involve each and every one in this entire, whenever we are taking this any decision, we need to involve each and every one in this decision making process. Whenever we are taking, whenever we are just taking any decision, we need to make sure that in this decision making process we involve the students. And if I have to give the examples, most probably it was like a child from grade 9 came to me, and she said, like two of them came to me and she said like, sir, like are we supposed to like tie our hair in a certain way, this or that, like in XYZ school, there the teachers or the school is not forcing them to tie their hair in this particular way. So you see, when you give them the liberty, if you give them the chance, they will definitely come and question you, isn't it? And the same, the school leadership should allow the teachers to question the school leadership as well. So when we are talking about student centered learning, I'll give you an example. They came regarding the dress code, about flexible lunch timing, which I have said earlier also. So they were finding it uncomfortable for them that if I have to eat my lunch during this period of time, I feel hungry, sir. So I adjusted that as per their requirement. So here you understand again that we are giving liberty to the students, and the students, they can take up their own decision. uh, like they can come up with the solution, at least they can come and tell you like you have to do this in this way. And again, in terms of curriculum, uh, there are certain topics which they want that the pace should be a little bit faster, the pace should be a little bit slower, so they can decide upon the pace. And uh, in CBSE and in ICSE, or for that Cambridge, we don't have that autonomy to just frame the curriculum which we have with IB, right? So if we don't have that autonomy to change the syllabus, as it's like, I believe that it's a universal syllabus and it's like runs throughout the country. So if we can bring in more changes where the school gets this autonomy to just make certain changes, like as per the recommendation of NEP, there are changes in regard to the language and also in regard to uh, the mother tongue policy. So if we get this autonomy, we can bring in more changes in the school, and we can make the school environment more student friendly. And if we talk about the school environment, the students also came up with certain ideas regarding the cafeteria, the library, or the digital classrooms for whatsoever. So whenever the students are coming up with this problems, we are giving them a solution, and we are giving them a solution keeping in mind that the student is given the topmost priority in the school ecosystem. If we are giving the students the topmost priority in the school ecosystem, as we are doing everything for the students, in this way, we will have a better productivity from the teachers, and the students will give in, uh, they will be able to learn at their own pace. They will have the, they can choose their own topics. Like if you are like taking up English in this, during the English period, you are asking the students to write an essay, and when you are writing, asking them to write an essay, and in that essay you are allowing them to write on their own. They can select a topic of their own choice. So when you are giving them the topic of their own choice, then the child will bring in more innovation, the child will use critical thinking, and will bring better results. We should not run after marks, but we can make certain changes so that the child learns something. And the students also came with flexible sitting arrangement, right? So whenever we make a sitting arrangement, we tell that uh, it's like this, that there is a student who is we make it in this way, like three students sitting in one particular bench. One can be a slow learner, the other one can be a learner with like average pace, and the other one is like an extraordinary student. So if we make the alignment in this way, then the student feels that they will be able to learn, and they will be able to grasp better things, and will be able to produce better results. So this is what I think is very important that we can do.
Right, sir. So as you quoted here regarding a student-centric approach and a student being a priority in the ecosystem, and as we were talking about the teacher's role in providing the information or being providing the best technology possible, do you feel, sir, that the technology accessibility to the teachers will make the learning and the teaching process being more personal, and it is going to be making more centric to the child, or is it just basically making it convenient for the teachers? So can you a little bit discuss about how technology accessibility can be helping us grow better into the education system?
From the perspective of a teacher or that of a
Yes,
student?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So, so if we think that like at times you see earlier when we had to just show something, when we had to like write something. So during this period of time, uh, we had to like chalk and duster method. It was a time consuming process, and it took a lot of time. But today when we have AI and when we have technology, it's like on our fingertips, we can just do it very easily, and we can bring in a lot of things in the classroom. So I believe it is not only that it is making things easier for the, from the perspective of that of a teacher, but it also makes better output, learning outcome can be better because they are getting hands-on experience. Like experiential learning and active learning can happen because of the technology. It can happen in a better way. We can focus more on project-based learning, and we can also use the storytelling method, uh, and diverse learning techniques can be used in this. And as I said here in this slide also, it's quite visible that we are talking about an adaptive adaptive platforms and multimedia tools, global content access, data tracking, continuous professional development, open communication. So whenever we are focusing on all these things, so the technology can make the learning more personalized. We can create a lot of question papers. We can create a lot of question papers, and we can make individual question papers for individual student. Earlier it was very difficult to make question papers. It was a very difficult task, but nowadays with the AI we can make question papers very easily. If we have to give keynotes to the students, we always open chat gpt, for instance. So we have to understand that what are the prompts that we need to give when we are just fetching certain answers. But in this way it can also make the students will also follow the same technique like that of a teacher to get the answers. So we have to make sure that we are giving certain questions for which the child needs to use critical thinking. The child need to go for a collaborative learning. So if they are not using all these things, the answer will be like just the same. So everyone will come up with the same answer. So you cannot expect any innovation in the school. So in this way, if we have to use technology, we have to make sure that teachers are using it, but make sure that we are just keeping a place for critical thinking. So critical thinking plays a very important role when we are just taking technology.
Right, sir. So I think, sir, the empowerment of the teachers marks to be the key role in the overall success for the school as well as for the student-centric approach that we have been actually following.
Hmm. Right, right. So I believe that empowering teachers is very important. So when we are not allowing the teachers to just uh, just give in a set of instruction, it comes from principal to the coordinators, and from coordinators like principals to the vice principal to the coordinator, coordinator to the teachers, and it's just a one-way process. If we are doing this way, things will not work out. Then the teachers will never think of sharing their own views and ideas. So in this way we will be able to we will restrict the innovation in the school ecosystem, and we will not be able to bring in the best practices in the school, because one cannot have all the things in one's mind. So we always have certain limitations. Like you cannot be best at all the things, you cannot be that particular best person. So when you take the ideas from others and you empower them, and you tell them, like suppose you're planning for a school annual function, and you call all the teachers and you ask them that we are thinking of a certain theme, and you ask the ideas and feedback from the teachers. Then you understand like what they think about this, and then you plan for the agenda of the programs, and like which uh, teachers can take responsibility of which part. Okay, it is always teacher centric. When you give this to the teachers, then it becomes teacher centric. But again we have to make sure that we need to involve each and every student in that particular program. So if you have to involve each and every student, we have to involve each and every teacher. So each and every teacher will be able to share. So therein we can do a SWOT analysis, and then we can find that what are the threats that we have and how we can eliminate it. And it can only happen when we empower the teachers and we do this like as a teamwork. If we are doing this as a teamwork, only then we can bring in the innovation in the school.
So I think, sir, the empowering of the teachers marks to be the key role, because as empowered teachers, children can be empowered as well. So the right direction, the right technology, and of course the right um, angle that we have been actually supposed to be using in this process is actually going to be giving us the success as a school system.
Right.
So as you highlighted that each of the student needs to be having diverse availability of the roles and diverse availability of learning modules that we have been actually having, or it should be a personalized kind of an education system. So how do you think that in this overall process of technology development and involving the teachers and making it student centric, what is the role of NEP in this regard? And how does NEP highlights on this progressive approach of modifying the education system towards a more student centric approach?
uh, we have to make sure that when we are talking as like from the perspective of a school leader and keeping in mind the NEP, we need to prepare like a more personalized, experiential, and holistic development. We need to focus on holistic development using experiential learning, and we have to make sure uh, that we cater both. We can tailor it to both local and global needs, right? So if we just make it in this particular way, and we can use interdisciplinary learning and focus on foundational literacy and numeracy. So if we are using experiential and active learning and the methods like project based learning or storytelling method, in this way diverse learning needs and language inclusivity is very important. So when we can use this all things together, and we can do the teacher training on digital tools as well, and partner with quality people, and we can bring them to the school and just guide the teachers in that way, and partnered with community local expert and students wise, we need to give more exposure to the students. And as I have already said that NEP is talking about experiential learning, reduced content load and deeper understanding, flexibility in subject choices and vocational exposure. So we need to move from that part of rote learning to that of critical thinking, and where the students will be able to just bring in their own innovation to the classroom. And I believe that as school leaders, we can implement these principles by fostering an environment of integrated lesson planning, assessment reforms, skill based learning, and value based education. And this approach ensures that learning in holistic, flexible, and relevant to students' diverse needs and future aspirations, moving beyond rote memorization towards practical application and critical thinking. As I said previously, that we need to move away from this rote learning. It's like we teachers are like we don't want to work hard at times because we think that the school leaders always want good results, right? So although we tell that we want the students to learn, but it is not always that. We always like whenever you are going to a market, you want that hoarding, that big hoarding, and 90% plus 10 students, 80% plus this many students. So you always want the toppers to be there in your school. So in this way, we as school leaders always think and try to pressurize the teachers that we want this many 90% from your batch, we want this many 90% from your batch. So although we tell a lot of things that we will be doing experiential learning, we will reduce content load, workload, but at the end of the day, from the inner core of our heart, we think that result is the ultimate marker of your success. So from the school leader perspective, we think that uh, if we are getting this many 90% plus, so it is good for me, and it is good for the school, uh, good for the growth of the school. So although we are telling all this thing, but we are unable to just justify this, and we have to make sure that the students, if we have to make sure like this, the teachers feel free, and if we are giving them the autonomy, then they can bring in innovation. But we have to reduce the workload, as in like we have to reduce a lot of paperwork and all. If we reduce this administrative role, then the teachers will be able to give much more to the classrooms, and in this way we can bring in more changes in the school ecosystem.
So talking about the school ecosystem, you rightly said NEP focuses on a lot of important aspects. Talking about the foundational literacy and numeracy that we've been focusing on, or you're talking about partnering with people, it's a very important aspect that we take up community leaders and experts and guides from the community who can basically come and guide the teachers as well as the students. On the other hand, vocationally, the exposure that has been required to the students is quite important, because all the more we need to move out of the box. The availability of the diversity that we have in terms of courses in today's time needs to be a good exposure that needs to be implemented to the student. Then all these things that we have been discussing here, talking about technology, talking about the financial literacy, or talking about foundational level of literacy that we've been talking about, all this need to be incorporated in our lesson plans. So this thing has to be the key, where in cooperation of this is going to be basically bringing out the outcome in the classroom. So talking about rote memorization and some practical methods that we are discussing here, can you share a few examples that has been incorporated in your school at your level, where specifically the alignment along with the teaching and the education has made it quite effective for the students as well as for the teachers?
uh, Actually, if we have to talk about letting go of this rote learning and all, so I'll give an example. We have started the project based learning and interdisciplinary learning in our school. So I'll give you an example of interdisciplinary learning. So I'll give you an example. We have a specific portion where suppose the exam paper is of 80 marks, so we give around 10 marks weightage to this ideal question. Okay, so if we have to frame one question, so which will be of around if we have two questions of 5 marks each, or it can be like this, we have three questions like this. And in this, for example, the question is like this: uh, uh, Mr. Rahul is is traveling from Delhi to Kolkata, and we mentioned the average speed of that train. It's 120 kilometer per hour, and after that, the questions can be like this, and the weather condition of this place is Delhi is like this, and the weather condition of Kolkata is like this, and Delhi was the um, capital during the Mughal rule. Kolkata was the capital during the British rule in India. So now we give the question and ask the students to elaborate on these questions. Question. We ask them, like in this way we cover maths. In maths, we like the child calculates the speed from A to Z, like from Kolkata to from Delhi to Kolkata, what was the speed of that particular train, and how much time it took to reach there. And again, there is another question about the weather condition. The child shares and get to know about the weather condition of both the places. The child gets to know about the it's a geography question. The child gets to know about both the places. And again, in terms of history, as the British capital or the Mughal capital, the child gets to know about the history as well. So uh, you cover science, you cover maths, and you also cover social science. And in this way, you cover the entire thing in that particular one question. So see, this we are doing it from grade 4 to grade 8. We are not touching the board uh, syllabus. but we are doing this as a pilot program. So in this way, we are trying to bring and do something which is different from others. And in this interdisciplinary approach, every other subject, like all the subjects, we are integrating and making it into one question. So in this way, the students are learning, the teachers are getting a better output, like how we need to train the students. And in this way, uh, the interdisciplinary learning is happening. So like when we were studying in our college days about intertextuality, so during intertextuality we were asked to read like 4 or 5 books, and was asked to review them. So in this way we tried to understand the socio-economic condition of that during that period of time, and we tried to some and come up with a possible solution. This is where I thought to integrate this in the school ecosystem, and make it more interesting. We have like field trips, if we are including field trips for that matter in this particular thing, the student will really enjoy this kind of questions. I think this will be like the students are really enjoying this kind of questions, and they definitely score well when we are giving this kind of questions to them.
So basically framing of the questions in such a way that the students enjoy it and relate it to themselves. So it will be more value based to them. It will be most promoting more practical knowledge rather than rote learning. And that is where specifically even NEP guides us that we need to bring out a knowledge and create a platform for the students where she is able to apply the knowledge rather than just doing a rote learning. And that is where specifically the student centric approach is quite a basic, evident thing in the NEP 2020.
Right, right.
So as we discussed about the role of teachers here, we discussed about the students, but now let's talk about the third pillar of the education system that we're having, and that's the parents, of course. So as we discussed, that technology needs to be accessibly available to the students as well as the teachers. There needs to be a diverse learning practices from the teacher side. There needs to be an availability of diverse methods of learning for the students. But now comes to the third pillar, that is basically the parents. How do you promote or encourage the parents involvement in the school system?
You see, like we Indian parents, we are quite different from that of others, right? And if you just go and check in the website of Canada, educational website, so there they have clearly mentioned that your only task is to send your child to the school. After that, it is the responsibility of the school to do everything for your child. But when it comes to India, the socio-economic conditions are like quite different from that of West. And if we have to complete this triangle of student, teachers, and parents they play a very important role. So CBSE just recently came up with a circular that we need to be more, we need to communicate with the parents little more often than what we like do. So herein, if we have to bring better academic outcome for the students, we have to make sure that we are involving the parents in the school ecosystem. As we have the parent teacher association PTA, we have to make sure that we conduct regular meeting with PTA and try to understand that where the problem, like where if you are facing any difficulty, just share that with us. So what we are like what I am doing from my school, we are regularly contacting the parents. It should not be that the schools are only calling the parents for fees. It should be that you are really worried about the child. You're really worried that your child, whatever your child is doing in the school, you have to make sure that you are informing that to the parent, and the parent will inform if they are facing any issue from the school side, they will inform that to the school. So what we parents are usually doing is we're like we keep on comparing our kids with Sarmaji ka beta. So when we do that, then the child is no longer feeling that like the child is no longer interested in going to school. He always compares, and he always thinks that my father or my mother is never happy with me. So if we as parents give them that support, that if you have to choose this, if you have to choose that, it's not always that you are going to be successful if you become a doctor or an engineer. So if I'll just share with this. So before this, I want you to just share, like, play that video so that we can understand better.
Suicide and greetings to the members of the House. Even today, we witness instances where individuals have to give up their potential, akin to Eklavya's sacrifice. But this time, it's due to organizational corruption, biased schemes, paper leaks, and the mishandling of laws by modern-day Dronacharyas. Between 2019 and 2021, more than 36,000 students have died by committing suicide, and that is not a small number. And gave us the 2024 regulatory coaching guidelines. However, they've missed the mark with this one, and let's see how. Firstly, the guidelines state at multiple places that there is undue stress or academic pressure on coaching going students. For an exam like NEET, there are 25 lakh students competing for just 50,000 seats. For an exam like JEE, there are 14 lakh aspirants vying for 14,000. One of the major reasons for stress in their life.
Yes. So yes. So from this video, it's quite evident that the students always they don't enjoy living there in Mukhajinagar. Always, it's not that. It is at times the parents are forcing them to be there. They want their kids to be conditioned in such a way. If we always as parents once like, I have not achieved this, my kids will achieve that. So we are keeping the children, we are just making them run. We are just fulfilling our own dreams, just making them understand that you have to do this, you have to do that. But we are not trying to understand that is my child really interested in doing that? But as parents, if we have to do like a better school environment, if we have to create a better school environment, we have to let them choose their own course, let them choose their own life. In whichever direction they want to go, they can choose their own in their own way. We cannot just force them. We cannot just force them and ask them to do it. We have to make sure that we are giving them the autonomy to choose. So it is not that we will force them and they will just choose as per our needs. It should be as per their own passion. So let them follow their own passion. So uh, in that movie, Farhan said that okay, maybe I will earn a little less, but at least I will be happy doing this. So if we are doing in this way, we have to make sure that like we give them, like, they should do and follow their own passion and be happy in their life. We have a lot of seminars this day to just create happy classrooms. So why can't parents make that a happy home for them? We have to create the atmosphere in such a way.
Right. Well quoted, sir. So, as we are moving ahead, we have a question before we move on to the next question. We have a question from the audience here. So the question says this. I'm just writing it on the screen. It says, "How is the education system different from the northern and southern India?" So, as belonging to the southern part of India, I hope you can brief little, as you have been expert in terms of both the parts of the continent. So can you brief a little and mention to us that how is education system both different in Indian northern and the southern part?
uh, you see, like the it's like completely different. It's like completely different. uh, in North and South India, the requirement from the parental side, they want different things. If we come to North India, the parents are more inclined towards UPSC. They want their kids to crack UPSC. And if we are going to South, if we talk about Bangalore, Hyderabad, or Chennai, here parents are more inclined to IIT, JEE, NEET. So the school system, so whenever I worked with the schools there in South, I'll talk about the duration of the school. It starts from morning 7:30 in the morning, and it usually used to run till around 7:30 in the evening. So you can understand the duration of the school hours. And by the time the child used to go to the school, like go back home, it was around it like 9 o'clock due to the traffic jams or all. You see, the most of the time the child is there in the school. So when I came down to south, from south to north, I saw that here the school duration is around 6 to 8 hours maximum. Most of the schools run for 6 hours. So the parental demand is completely different here. And if we go to specifically to some of the states, here they want their kids to communicate in English, and they want their kids to crack IELTS, TOEFL, and send their kids to abroad. So here the demand is completely different. So if we have to differentiate between these two places, I believe that both of them are doing their best from their own perspective. Long working hours, they're in South, less working hours, they're in North. But I feel that in South, you have a better established systems in the school where you just try to move in during like move in that particular system. But in North, I believe that we need to work a little bit more on this ecosystem and make it more teacher centric. We have to give more autonomy to the teachers, and this is how we will be able to bring in more innovation. So as basically uh, most of the CBSE schools are there in north of India, uh, when it comes to implementation, a very implementation becomes a problem when we go to south, because a lot of things are based on the basis of north. So this is where is the main difference, and the main difference is regarding the taste of the parents. They want their kids to be something, and here the parents want their kids to do something else.
So, as you mentioned about the involvement of the teachers and given an autonomy to the teachers, how do you think then principals can guide the team of teachers and coordinators to follow a student-first approach? So, as a principal and as a leader, we need to give a direction to the respective faculty to work in a particular way so that we can focus more on a student-centric approach. So, what is the further leading process to this scenario?
Um, uh, I always tell that as we are discussing about student-centered approach, but we also have to make sure that we talk about certain teacher-centric approach as well. So if we are not empowering the teachers will not be able to give us come up with innovation in the classroom. I always say this, that you cannot expect that the teachers will share their ideas if you are just always telling them you are not giving anything which is valid. We have to make sure that the students, like the teachers, are given the empowerment, and as principals and school leaders, we need to be visible and accessible and be present in the classrooms as well as in the corridors. It should not be that you are just sitting in your room or in your cabin and you are just doing your work. You should be accessible. If the teachers wants to meet you and share their views, listen to them, give them a chance, ask them to share their ideas, isn't it? And we need to connect with students And therefore, we need to develop a bond. As school leaders, the coordinators and the teachers can create a bond. If as a team, if the school leader by itself, if the school leader is not creating an environment where the teachers can share their views, can tell something, and can add to your vision. So if they cannot, then you as teachers cannot do the same with your students. You cannot expect your students to question you, right? If you cannot expect your students to question you, then this desired result will not come. And the communication with the staff and the parents should be, you should be as polite as possible. You cannot be harsh with them. You have to understand, and we need to establish measurable, achievable goals, right? And we also need to share, like as school leaders, we need to share the vision with the team. Only then the team will be able to perform. If you are just keeping your vision with you, you will not be able to give your best. And we have to make sure that we put the goals into practice. If we are planning something, we need to put the goals into practice. Daily productivity and implementation is the real problem. If we are talking, like if we are telling that yes, I am pro teacher, I am teacher centric, I am talking about the students, but you are not really practicing it, then you are not doing and you are not bringing something good. You have to practice them, and implementation is a real problem. We need to support the teachers, encourage their growth, like plan for professional development for them, involve the teachers in the decision making process, and we need to promote teamwork and facilitate communication. And for them, we have to understand the learning gaps from the students, and we need to provide individual support. We need to give and promote the student voice. Only then, as school leaders, if we are giving the liberty to the teachers, only then the teachers will be able to give their best in the school ecosystem. In this way, we will be able to make a student-centered approach. The student-centered school can only run when there are empowered teachers.
Sir, it's quite a different approach coming from a principal where you are being the voice of the teachers here. Empowering of the teachers to listen and connect with them. I think that's the key role of any school system or an ecosystem that possibly it runs on. It's really nice to hear from a principal talking about the planning a professional development for the teachers to reduce the learning gap that has been there. And I think a visionary and a leader in a position who can think with regard to the teachers can actually run parallel. And then only basically we can actually derive something as a good educational change into the ecosystem. So facilitating communication, I think that's a very important perspective coming from a principal thinking in this regard. Is I think it's really important. Talking about inclusivity, talking about helping in terms of the decision making, and of course communicating that involving in the decision making process. As students feel empowered when the teachers be involved, of course teachers will definitely feel empowered talking to the principals and discussing what is the key and the role of change that needs to be brought up into the system. So it's really nice to see that how empowering of the teachers marks to be the key role of the discussion today. And I think as principals, all those who have been watching and hearing us, it's a great example that yes, we need to include teachers into the decision making and in the communication, and let them suggest how the things need to be changing at the ground level. So it's really
Definitely.
wise. Yes, sir. So the questions from my end are near a close, but I have been getting a lot of questions from the audience. So I think, sir, we should be basically answering those. To begin with, we have one of the questions, like how can schools involve students in the decision making? So what are your suggestions that how possibly as a school leader you would suggest that the children need to be involved in the decision making process?
So, how can schools involve students in decision making? Yes. So, see, during the starting of the academic year, we just plan for a student council, right? So, when we have the student council, we have to make sure that it's not for the namesake. It should not be for the namesake. We need to give them the authority And if they have that authority to question and just be part of the decision making process, then they will be sharing their views with you. Suppose if the if a group of students wants to understand regarding the regarding the marketing of any company, and the students come to you and they tell you that, sir or ma'am, uh, we want a real life learning for this entire marketing thing, like how it really works. Okay, a group of students from grade 12 studying commerce, they came to you and said that we want to get the first hands-on experience on marketing. And then they share a view, like share an idea that, sir, we can visit a particular shop. uh, if we are taking, for example, the product is cement, and and the students are going to a particular shop, and whenever a customer comes to that particular shop, the student asks, like, why you are purchasing Ultratech, or why you are purchasing Mangur or JP or Ambuja. So in this way, the student will get to know what is the reason why that particular person is coming to that shop and asking for Ambuja or Ultratech. Is it because of the advertisement? Is it because of something like the branding? Is it because of the price? Is it because of the availability? Is it because of the transportation? So in this way, the students, when they come up with this, we as school leaders need to be open enough to give them a chance. Yes, you are telling this, you are sharing this with me. Yes, we will take this forward. We give you an opportunity. Go for a field trip. You learn and share your views. And suppose you are planning for a school magazine, and in that magazine the students will come up with their own writing. It should not be that the teachers are writing for them. So in this way, the students will prepare, like if you give the like example, like someone will prepare the front page, someone will prepare the back sheet, someone will prepare the pages, someone will collect the documents, someone will just make the uh, proper setting of that, they will go for a print. So in this way they learn the collaborative learning, and in this way the students will be able to take the decision, they will be able to implement. So they will not always depend on the teachers, they will be doing it from their very end. So they will be able to do it from their end. So I believe that in this way, the decision making process, the students will become an important pillar in the decision making process.
Very true, sir. I really agree to you on this one, that specifically the students' decision making basically is an empowerment from the school end. And of course, it is basically the right direction that has been required for the students to actually decide on and take the right decisions for their further perspective of any perspective in their life. Moving ahead, we have another question. Like, what are the strategies that to need to be followed for the teacher-centric curriculum in your school? So we can use throw some light on this respective question that's been asked.
So if I have to talk about the teacher centric curriculum, and specifically about when we take, it is regarding like the curriculum that we take in, or like teacher centric approach from the school side.
Sir, I think it's with regard to the school, because ma'am is asking in your school how you have been following the teacher-centric curriculum.
Okay, okay. You see, suppose you see whenever we are doing a moderation for any question paper, we try to make in certain changes, but we also have to make sure that the teachers are given the autonomy to make the question papers, and also there is a teamwork involved in that. In that teamwork process, each and everyone in that particular department, they sit together and decide the syllabus, and they work on it together. It's not that always that the school leader is sharing his view and is getting output, isn't it? So I gave earlier also an example, like if we are planning for an annual day. In that annual day, we will follow the process of design thinking. We will take the inputs from all the teachers. We will make a proper agenda. We will give the responsibilities to the teachers. individual responsibilities will be there. So each and every teacher is feeling empowered. So empowered teachers equals to empowered school. And teacher-centric curriculum can only work when we empower the teachers. So there should be proper uh, continuous professional development should be there for the teachers. So the PDs, it should not be that like we are mandatorily completing that 50 hours. It should be that the teachers are learning from that. The teachers are implementing that in the classroom. So only then we can make it more student centric. First, we need to make that teacher centric. So in this
So,
way,
ma'am,
I always
ma'am has again mentioned, she has added on that it has to be more teacher-centric in your daily practices. She's wishing to know more of a teacher-centric approach rather than a student-centric approach.
okay. So teacher centering initiatives in your daily practices to support them, not only students. Yes. So if we have to make it teacher centric initiatives in the school, we have to make sure that we are reducing a lot of administrative tasks from the teachers. We cannot expect that the teachers will call for the fees. The teachers will not always call the parents for any other purpose, that your child is not bringing this, that your child is not doing that. We have a specialized person who is doing all this. So we give this responsibility to that particular person, and that particular person takes the follow up of that. It is not only that we always give the each and everything to the class teacher, or for that matter to that subject teacher. We try to divide the work, and it is not the always the teacher's responsibility like to fill in all the details of the students. We have a proper front desk and the administrative team works on this. So in this way we try to reduce the workload of the teachers, and when we try to reduce the workload of the teachers, definitely the teachers will be able to produce better uh, productivity in terms of student-centered learning.
Very rightly said. Bhagya ma'am, I hope sir has been able to answer your query and is been able to add up to the pointers that how possibly in his school has been practicing the same. And the following can be basically been the thing that you can practice at your school also or suggest at your school. So the next question comes up is, what advice as a school leader do you give to the school leaders who are beginning new in this journey? So what is the advice or suggestion or you would like to give?
Uh, those who are starting new in this journey, I will tell you just try to be a little bit more teacher-centric. And like you see, when we started, like we are not leaders overnight. We started our journey as a school teacher, and later on we got other responsibilities in the school ecosystem, like someone from a school teacher, from a TGT to a PGT, from PGT to a uh, HOD, from that to academic coordinator, vice principal, and a principal. So you know how difficult it is for a teacher to do certain tasks. So try to just uh, think from the perspective of a teacher. Always don't try to think it from the perspective of a leader. So if you are thinking it from the perspective of a leader, you just think that parents, they are my client. I need to make them happy. So I will give a lot of responsibilities to the teachers, and the teachers will bring in productivity. In a way, I will be able to give the best to the school. But we have to make sure they are not machines, they are humans. We need to use empathy in our leadership style. So I believe that we need to be more empathetic, and we have to make sure that we try and understand. So for example, there is a particular teacher in my school who is not giving the 100% for last 2 months. So I called that teacher twice or thrice, that is there anything at your home that is disturbing you? You are feeling disturbed, share that with me so that we can work on it together. So I gave him multiple warnings. I made him understand. I'm trying my best to make him understand. And if he is facing that problem, it is the responsibility of school leader to stand next to him, rather, because that teacher was productive for last couple of years. But we have to understand, this is a phase. This phase will pass, and he will again give his best. So we as leaders need to think from this perspective. I think this is very important if we are starting as a leader.
Right, sir. So, ma'am has already shared that it is in terms of the teacher-student ratio, in terms of the work schedule or the workload and the monetary benefits, etc. So, all this thing basically with respect to the teacher-centric approach as more involved in the student to the school system.
So
So,
ma'am's
viewers,
question is,
yeah, yes, sir.
yes. So ma'am's question is regarding the student-teacher ratio, work schedule, workload, and maintenance. Yes, ma'am. I will answer this. I'll answer.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So what ma'am is asking is regarding the student-teacher ratio. If we have to talk about the student-teacher ratio, ma'am, actually as per the guidelines from CBSE, we have around we can maximum there can be maximum 40 students in each class. So it should not be more than that. And work schedule and workload. So I cannot just specify the number that you need to take 6 periods as a TGT or 4 periods as a PGT, but the workload should not be inhuman. We cannot be inhuman with teachers. We need to give the workload, keeping in mind that particular person is human, and that particular person has certain potential, and that particular person can work. As I said that typically when we talk about south of India, there the working hours are approximately 12 14 hours of working, and then you go back home, you come back. So it's a long working hour. So and when it comes to monetary benefits, as you know, monetary benefits should be like, I believe that we are not doing well for the teachers. We are not making it so cool for the teachers to come into this profession, because we are not paying them well. We are not following the guidelines at times. So we have to make sure that we try to give, and there are certain restrictions from the school side as well. As you know, like the competition is quite high and the schools are not able to increase their fees at times, and because of which they are unable to give competitive salaries. But a good school doing good can definitely provide competitive salaries to the teachers, and only then we can have the best teachers on board. So monetary benefits, I believe that it is absolutely necessary when we want good productivity and good teachers to come into this profession.
So, ma'am is wishing to know more about your school. That how are you following this in your school?
uh, Ma'am, the question regarding this monetary benefits and workload, I'll share an example. There was a teacher who was taking few classes, and I found it that the teacher is not doing quite. Uh, the teacher was unable to provide uh, the best that from his side. So I thought of reducing his workload and give better monetary benefit to that teacher, and that teacher by now is satisfied and is trying to give the best. So whenever any teacher comes to me, like when we just plan for this academic year, I knew that XYZ teacher will come to me and share their problems, that sir, I'm having this X workload, Y workload. So I have tried to reduce the workload of those teachers, and also I have tried to make sure that it matches with the monetary benefits, and also we are trying to give competitive salary as compared to our competitors. So that is what we are doing it from our school side.
Right, sir. I would like to take one last question for the session before we sum up the session. Right. Okay. How can principals support the teachers in creating a student-friendly classroom?
Yes. So yes. So as I said, the teacher, the principal cannot be the principal should be visible and accessible, and he should be present in the classrooms and in the corridors. So the principal can be supportive. It's like, I'll give you an example. Like I don't know in which way to just tell this, but still I will share this with you. A group of students came to my class, like to my office, and shared, "Ki, sir, we want to celebrate the birthday of X teacher." So, it becomes very difficult from the perspective of the management, from the school leadership's perspective, that you give this permission to the student to celebrate this in your, like, in your school. So, but the students are really interested, and they think that yes, we want to celebrate the birthday of our class teacher. So in this way, I allowed that particular class to celebrate the birthday of that teacher, and also I went to that class, I participated in that event, and I wished that particular teacher, and also made the students understand that when ma'am is getting this much love and respect from you, that means definitely she is doing something for you. So it is your responsibility to give it back to her in whichever way she wants. So that means when the ma'am is telling you something, you should listen to her. In this way, the teacher and student friendly classroom atmosphere can remain. And I believe that as teachers and the principals, we cannot be always like, when we see like the teacher is being very close with that of the students and all. You see, there are some of the teachers who are very popular in the school, and the students love them a lot. So we have to make sure that we are not stopping them, and like we cannot feel jealous of them, like why they love her or him, not me. We have to make sure and promote this and help them, like why we have to find out why that teacher is the favorite teacher of everyone in the school. It's not that the teacher is giving a lot of marks to the students. It's not that the teacher is not telling anything when the child is doing some mischievous activity in the classroom, but we have to make sure that we maintain a balance and create a classroom which is happy, and also creating and striking a balance between these two is, we have to make sure that the students are having a good bond with the teachers, and they feel like a homely atmosphere in the school, because we believe that the students in the school, like whenever they are coming to the school, is the second home for them. We need to make them feel uh, that homely atmosphere there should be there in the school, I believe. So in this way, we cannot be harsh with the teachers. We have to make sure that we give them the space, and only then the teachers can perform. We need to give them the liberty, and we need to make them part of the decision making process. Only then the teachers will be able to produce their best in the classroom.
Right, sir. Very nicely quoted here. So we have a response pouring in. So ma'am has mentioned all the very best. She's understood. So we have comments for great session, right? So really looking forward to more such feedback, sir. I shall be sharing you post the session as well as I receive it. So coming to the near end of the session, what is your last takeaway for the audience?
Well, we can come to that conclusion page.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can we just little bit zoom in? Yes. So, you see, being student centric is not a one time action. It's a mindset, a culture where we build daily through our words, our systems, and our leadership. And I believe as principals, we hold the power to transform schools into spaces where students don't just learn, they thrive. So, in this entire ecosystem, I believe that it should not be like we are celebrating Mother's Day, and one single day you show your all your love and respect to your mother, or like on a teacher's day you are showing all your love and affection to that teacher, other day you don't care. In the same way, it should not be that whenever the leadership team is there in the classroom, you have that student centric approach, but we have to make sure that throughout the year we plan certain activities and we give autonomy to the students, take their decisions while we are taking some important decisions. It is a continuous mind, it's a mindset we need to we need to create this atmosphere. It's not that it's like overnight it happens, right? It's a continuous process, and we have to make sure that each and every day we try better uh, plans, we try with very different ideas and make it more student centric. We should not be rigid, we should be flexible, and in this way we will be able to create a better, I guess, a student centered or a student approach or a student centric school.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Listening from you on a perspective as a principal, it's really guiding. It's really motivating and inspiring, especially for new leaders, for the school educational leaders who have been on this space and they are wishing and willing to bring a change in the ecosystem, wishing and willing to bring a change into the education system, because we need leaders who can speak on fronts for the school ecosystem. We need leaders who can actually bring up a change in the overall idea and the perspective among the people. So as we are ending and nearing, any last note that you would like to mention?
Um, as I said, that as school leaders, we need to be more empathetic. So if we have to be, uh, it's not like that we cannot take certain harsh decisions. At times, we need to take certain decisions which are harsh, and we cannot please all the time. But I always tell all the leaders to be more empathetic whenever you are taking any decision, and include the teachers in the decision making process and involve them. And empowered teachers can only make and create a very good school ecosystem. And the school can only succeed when we have empowered teachers. To give them the empowerment, and you wait and watch. You will see the best that can happen in any school, and you will give uh, like better. You will get better productivity from the teachers. And I would like to tell one more thing: always appreciate the teachers whenever they are doing something. They will go some extra mile for you when you just appreciate them. Appreciation is the best thing that you can do, and appreciation will bring better productivity in your school. And I believe only then, when we are empowering the teachers, only then we can have a better student centered approach. Because without teachers and without students, the school will not run. But again, when we are there in the school to teach the students or to facilitate, we have to make sure that the teachers are empowered enough. So we need to empower them and take empathy as the most important part of your leadership style.
Really nice to see that, sir, and really nice takeaway. So, dear participants and viewers, as we draw this enriching session to a close, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for being a part of this dialogue on student centric school culture, the role of principals. A special note of thanks to Mr. Shubham, whose visionary insights and real world experience has illuminated the path for school leaders striving to place students at the heart of the education. So, your thoughts on the school leadership, curriculum innovation, and the vital role of principals in fostering student-centered ecosystem has truly inspired us all. So, on behalf of Educational Connect with DM, thank you for empowering us to rethink leadership with empathy, efficiency, and excellence.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope that we will use this whenever we are just doing the things in the school. The
Right.
implementation is the most important part. We tell a lot of things, but implementation will play a very important role. Thank you,
Correct, sir.
ma'am. Yes.
To our audience, may today's discussion spark the ideas and action in your own educational settings. Keep the spirit of learning and leading alive. Until next time, let's keep education student first, future ready. Thank you everyone for joining today.